Enjoy the ASMR. Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to my channel. I'm Naoya, and thank you for clicking on today's video. First of all, I just want to say thank you to all 500 of you subscribing to my channel. It's fucking insane that I think right now it's around 550. Let me double check. Yeah, 548 subscribers, which is incredible. I never imagined that there will be this many people watching my video, or think that it's entertaining enough to watch. So I really appreciate everyone who continues to watch and enjoy my content. I hope to make more and hope you can enjoy what I make. So today's video is basically on the opposite end of the spectrum compared to what I dropped last week. I wanted to talk about how I buy pieces and my kind of like the thought process, the things I think about when I'm trying to buy something, and also how I grew my style, which I think how I did it went hand in hand, basically. So the way I bought it and the way I grew my style just kind of went together. So so I had to write it down because I have so much things I wanted to kind of mention. But first off, I wanted to start with just kind of explaining the overarching theme is that it is purely based on my own experience, and then I want to talk about how I decide to buy pieces from my thought process, having the eye of what people call it, and more on my feeling side of like the intuition and the gut feeling. And then towards the end, I also want to talk about how I grew my style through an iterative process. Before I get started in kind of telling the story of how I've been doing this, I just want to give a big fat warning. There's a big asterisk that this is not meant to be taken as a guide or a how-to on growing your style or buying. This is just purely a storytelling of my perspective and how I've been buying clothes and how I've been growing my style and adding pieces to my wardrobe, which is literally just what you can see behind me pretty much, plus a cabinet full of some knitwears. So don't take this as a guide, but it's more of like a, we're having a conversation, or take it like a podcast, like it's just it's a stream of my conscious. So I just want to give that. And also I'm gonna touch on consumerism and like all that kind of shit. So it is, yes, hypocritical of me to talk about these things on this platform, especially just having had that video last week where I bought 4 things and spent some cash. It inherently promotes that kind of behavior, but I think it's important to have that balance of entertainment and, buying something and finding joy in it, but also being aware of what you're doing and having, of your actions or of my actions. Yeah, that's another thing. Whenever I say you, just replace that word as I. I just want to talk from my point of view. I'm not telling you what to do. That was a long ass intro. Anyway, okay, so to get into it. So I want to start off with buying a piece and my sort of the thought process going into it. I've jotted down, it's more on the logical side. It's based on asking myself questions and being introspective. But I wanted to start off with the definition of consumerism. It's the idea that increasing consumption of goods and services is always a desirable goal, and that a person's well-being and happiness depend fundamentally on obtaining consumer goods and material possessions. And I pulled this definition from Investopedia. I will link it down below. So first thing first, I put importance on is I don't and slash try not to equate my happiness by buying clothing or boots or material things. I acknowledge that it is fun, it's nice to have, and it's a feeling that it's, exhilarating when you open a pack, or when I open a package and see the piece that I really wanted to buy, and having that physical thing. It's fun, but it's never my source of happiness. I look for happiness elsewhere. It's not derived from the material possessions and buying of material things. And I also think it's important to be content with my own wardrobe. I've been, when I first started getting into fashion, I was just buying a whole bunch of stuff almost every week at H&M, Zara, all these fast fashion places. But it was this never-ending hunger for wanting more and more. And it was just kind of like feeding into that consumerism. And as I became more conscious of what I'm buying, I also became more content with what I have in this wardrobe. But at the same time, it is nice to buy things, and having that privilege to be able to buy more things as time goes on, and as I'm able to earn more money. But if for some reason there's like a law saying we can't buy any clothes anymore, and I had to basically make it work with what I have, then I'll be completely happy, and I'll be totally okay to live the rest of my life with this wardrobe. And the next point I wanted to bring up is that I don't blindly purchase for the sake of buying and having that one piece. I always make sure that the piece I'm buying works with my wardrobe and works within my style, or I have a plan to use it as a key pivotal piece to slingshot my style into a different aesthetic, or push myself out of my comfort zone. And I always justify to myself why spending that much is okay. And I don't have to justify to anyone else but to me, because it is my own money. I'm the one spending that money. So I have to explain to myself, why does it make sense? Why do I want it? That sort of thing. And kind of getting more deeper into the justification, it's just a series of questions that I tend to ask myself is, will the piece serve a purpose in my wardrobe? Do I see myself wearing it in 5-10 years down the line? Will it expand my style? Do I already have something that is similar in my wardrobe? And I always try to envision myself wearing that piece with multiple outfits before clicking add to cart. And I think what's good about online shopping is that, yes, it's instantaneous, but at the same time, it gives you the choice to leave and then come back without leaving the comfort area at home. I feel like when I'm at the store and see something, let's say it was maybe like the last piece, or worse, even at like a consignment store, I sometimes have that pressure of, if I don't buy it now, it might be gone. But I always try to recognize that feeling and try not to rush myself. And, I always try to tell myself, step away for a second and then come back. If it's not there, I'll find something else later. It's not the end of the world if I miss one piece. there will always be another opportunity to buy more. And then also when I'm buying, and this is more for when I'm about to spend more money on like higher price point items, I just kind of laugh at myself if I'm worried about it too much, because if I'm worried about it, then I think I'm not ready to buy that piece, have that piece in my wardrobe. And it wouldn't make sense if I'm already worried to have that piece before buying, and having that in my wardrobe. So if that's the case, I find an alternative to gain that confidence. And I also look at thrift stores, secondhand stores, and consignment stores to see if there's something similar, or maybe as luck would have it, I could buy that exact piece that I wanted, just out of sheer luck. For example, my Loewe jeans, that was out of sheer luck, and I had actually bought a similar shaped trouser from my work. That's the women's culotte trousers that I think I've shown on some other video. And that was supposed to be my kind of like an entryway into that sort of shaped pants. And then soon after, I just had the opportunity to buy the Loewe pants for a good deal, so I jumped on it. And I jumped on it because I knew that I wanted it, and it was at a price point where I didn't have any hesitation towards that. And now I want to kind of get more into this is the art school, the irrational, the art history irrational side, or the feeling, intuition, and like the gut feeling, the bits that what makes us human. At least I like to think about it that way. Anyway, I digress. So I kind of like built up that gut feeling through looking up runway photos and getting an idea of how the designers intended and envisioned the piece to be worn. And looking at those photos, it was not to carbon copy from head to toe those pieces, but rather to look at and have a point of reference for proportions, styling details, or vibe of the outfit, what kind of message the designer was trying to convey, and the mood of the outfit. And I tend to choose my outfits based on my mood. Oh, let me go hella extra, be dapper, so maybe I'll pull out my blazer and kind of construct my outfit around that. Or I want to be comfortable, but I still want to look dope, then I revert back to more of, what I know best is just more on that SLP aesthetic, skinny jeans, t-shirts, or sweatshirt, and a leather jacket. Easy, it's comfortable, I'm very used to wearing that, but it still looks good. And just having that sort of like mentality going into creating an outfit, I find it easy to pick and choose from what I have, and express my mood through the day, basically. The next point of kind of like looking at references and building up that gut feeling is I don't consciously look at aspirational people and try to dress like them. If I do see them, then it's a source of information. And obviously we live in the world where there's so much information available with this whole influencer culture, and there's no denying that there will be consciously or subconsciously the influence from those said people. And obviously you can see that influence on me as well, and I don't think I have to explain where those are. It's quite obvious anyway. But I try to have that sort of thinking of where when I see a piece on someone from, let's say, like an influencer or on a YouTube video, I tend to think it's a cool piece. How would that look on me? Do I want it? Rather than, oh, this person has it, that means I have to get it. I don't equate the people and that aspiration to the piece, but rather than I look at that piece as a piece, and if I see it on someone's YouTube video the first time, then that's just where I found it, but the piece itself doesn't not have to relate to whoever that is, at least to me, when I'm browsing around on the internet and see something cool. But obviously I can't deny that there's an influence of those people. Yeah, I don't know where I was trying to get at, but yeah. And also kind of like talking about gut feeling, it's hard to explain because it is just what it is in my head, and because I know what I like, I just follow that instinct of, oh, this will be sick, and oh, this is why I like it. And that already just happens within a split second in my head, and then I just tend to take a step back and think, just make sure that there's nothing very similar, or pretty much the same thing, and that serves the same purpose in my wardrobe. And if I'm looking at something to expand my wardrobe, then I have to analyze, will it look good? Will it work? Ugh. No, shut up. In my wardrobe. So I don't know, this whole feeling, intuition, gut feeling portion just might not make sense. I don't know. It's not meant to be something. I'm just a guy talking to a camera in his studio apartment and posting that on YouTube. So yeah, so I've been following that intuition and like that gut feeling. So I never had those buyer's remorse because I'm already in love with the piece before I even pay for it. I've already envisioned multiple outfits, and I've created like a daily life what that piece included in my head. And yeah, by the time I have that piece, it's not a surprise of how I envision it. Obviously, sometimes the fit might not be exactly as I imagined, but I know how to make it work, or I just experiment with it. So I never had buyer's remorse at all. And sometimes I just, buy it on impulse and deal with the consequences later. It happens. I don't think anyone, in fashion, or most of the people, I would think, will have those moments of the impulse and buy on the impulse. So I'm not saying I'm better than anyone, I'm just blurting out my thoughts. Oh, the eye. I personally think a lot of this has to do with like knowing your proportions and what kind of sizing fits on you well, or those things that you see on videos of like how to grow your style, how to buy pieces that fits you. And I think Greg Ntore, he has an incredible video talking about that and talking about longevity, which I will also link down below. That is a great video to get started with, especially when, I don't know, it helped me when I didn't know what to do to expand my style. Just kind of like gave me some idea. But yeah, I feel like the eye is based on that like foundation of knowledge on how things will fit on you, how things will look on you, and being able to imagine that in your head or having an idea, that helps to create that base of knowledge and how you can expand your outfits and your style. And I also think that a lot of researching helped me into kind of like honing in on that idea of the I. So for example, I just want to bring up that when I was heavily into the Eddie Slimane SLP aesthetic in that era, I was pretty much every day looking at runway photos, just saving it on Pinterest and analyzing why I love it so much and what attracted me to it. And that sort of helped me to understand the outfits in a way that Eddie was intending, and kind of like the mood and the vibe. I was able to remember it just like a back of my hand, basically. And I also think having a good foundation by knowing what I like and what works on my body and with my wardrobe is quite essential, at least, to the way I like to buy things and, the way I like to construct my outfits. Having that good foundation is good for me. So I tend to put importance on what I think a lot of people would call essential pieces or the basics. I think that basics aren't just like the basic tee or the basic pants, but it's a piece that helps to make your statement piece make a statement. It's a way for your outfit to have a negative space, or I said your, but in my outfits, it gives a negative space for statement pieces to create its own statement, and reducing the noise from the overall outfit. Oh yeah, another point here, like knowing, like having a good foundation and having a good knowledge of your own wardrobe. This is a funny point that I thought of doing is I have 100% confidence that I can be blindfolded right now and be told to make an outfit. I can do that with my wardrobe. I know how each piece exactly feels in my hand, and as I've organized it on this rack, I know exactly where each piece is, so I can just blindfold it, follow my hand and create an outfit. It'll be easy for me. I think. Never tried it, but I have 100% confidence that I can do it. Another thing that I wanted to bring up when it comes to me choosing the pieces to buy is this is kind of like a particular way of looking at clothing because of my interests and my profession. I look out for details such as like the constructions, the materials, and cuts, because I want to create a physical library of references for my work and like what I'm interested in. It's a physical reference to the designer's thoughts, decisions, and their vision. Brands I tend to like is with the designers that wear their own pieces, and their brand is their embodiment of their thought process and like their core philosophies. Now, I've kind of touched on that throughout this whole video, but I want to talk about how I grew my style. And then this is not to say I'm superior to anyone. It's just that I can see that my style has grown over the past 3-4 years, and I want to share my experience. It's a storytelling. So the last wardrobe overhaul was 4 years ago, from this hype beast phase, fear of God, that whole look. I don't know if, I mean, yeah, that was a huge moment in, yeah, in streetwear, I think. It's just like this whole fear of God, the zipper pants. I'm sure a lot of people will remember. But yeah, I switched from that into what a lot of people call the SLP aesthetic. So for a few years, I expanded within that aesthetic, and I tried to master the proportions and how things fit and how Eddie Slimane created that world. And I, expanded my repertoire of my outfits. And as I got deeper and deeper into it, I got very granular with how certain things fit. So for example, my skinny jeans, can't really show, but I'm wearing my Acne jeans. But yeah, the way this fits was how I wanted my skinny jeans to fit is, it's skinny but not spray on. You can't tell every muscle fibers of my thighs or calves, and there's a little room around my ankle, that sort of thing. Very granular to a point where it doesn't really matter to other people. It just, I just cared about it. But yeah, it was quite an iterative process of trial and error, and I think this is also where my kind of like the designer side of my brain comes into play. Through industrial design, it was just a learning of how to iterate on same idea through research and prototyping and trying different things, but the core of it was the same. So every variation I made was slightly better than before, or trying one thing different than the previous version. So I think that subconsciously applied to how I looked at fashion and how I chose to create my outfits. And through that, I figured out, what I like, especially within that whole world of SLP aesthetic, was that my God, I was talking way too much. My camera just shut off. Jesus. Okay. But yeah, so, getting granular and knowing what I like, I figured out that I like the balance of rocker / punk / rebellious nature of that SLP aesthetic, but with a touch of simple / minimal pieces, or kind of distilling that and then simplifying it a little bit, and then with a touch of elegance and that, a bit of European vibe, so to say. That was something I liked, and that's kind of like the conclusion I came to as I dove deeper into that Eddie Slimane's world. And then when it came to expanding my wardrobe, it all started out because I was getting bored of what I was wearing. And I was bored, but it wasn't a boredom that wanted me to completely change my aesthetic, because I still love the look of just a simple t-shirt, skinny jeans, and my SLP Wyatts. That's, I think it looks good on me, and it gives me I'm very confident in that outfit. I think it looks good no matter when I wear it. So yeah, it was a boredom from, I think, getting to a point where I was just kind of like okay with what I already had, and I don't know, I got to that point where I was content with how I'm able to create those outfits that capture the essence of the SLP aesthetic. So then it was more iterating on different fit of pieces and the cuts and the proportions, and of course more researching. I did that by looking at people who dress with different proportions or wear different brands that is completely different from what I'm used to, and I'm look at it and see what I like about it and analyze why it works so well on them. And then taking those points and I start to imagine, how would that look on me? Would that look good? And trying to apply that to myself. And then also I tried on a whole bunch of stuff at different stores that have kind of like, that can give me a similar idea to what I wanted to go into. And I talk about this whole iterative thing, and it's also coming through on the brands I tend to gravitate towards, because I love brands that also create on the process of iterating on their core philosophies or the core ideas. So their main design, like the center, the core design language of each collection doesn't change from collection to collection, but it's an iterative process of just doing something slightly different, just branching out from that main path. But when you distill it to its essence, it's still the same throughout their entire collection. And I can see a lot of that with the designers who wear their own things, and it's their brand, as I said a while ago, their brand is the embodiment of their core philosophy and what they believe in. So Hyder, Andy, Eddie Slimane, Dries Van Noten, these people, they wear, or Raf Simons too, they wear their clothes because they embody what they believe in, and they iterate on that same core principle, just slightly different every collection to create variation and trying new things and creating different versions, but the core of it is still the same. And as someone who studied design, I can really appreciate that. And I think it's a difficult process to be able to start from the same starting point, but then being able to create variations. Rick Owens, he does it so well too. It's every collection is inherently the same idea, but just using different references and different mood and the emotions that he wants to evoke, it creates different collections, but the design language is still the same. Man, I don't even know if that makes sense at all, but man, I don't even know if this entire video made sense. It's gonna be a long ass video. It is a long ass video. I don't even know if anyone's gotten to this point, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope some parts of it was interesting, or I hope this can be a conversation starter, either within in the comment section down below, or with just in your head. And maybe I think in a different way than you do, so I don't know. let me know what you thought of this video. Honestly, I just wanted to talk about it because I talk about it with my friends, so I thought it could be fun to share this, I don't know, like what's in my head, rather than just showing clothes and like saying, oh, this is dope. I mean, I do that, but I think I gotta have a balance between getting a bit of seriousness and being aware of what I do on this platform and what we do as people who love fashion, and just mindlessly copying and buying and enjoying clothes because hey, it's fun, right? Anyway, please hit that like button, leave a comment of what you thought, and hit subscribe if you haven't already. It helps me a lot. It motivates me, and I want to get to 1,000 subscribers by summer, hopefully. And yeah, also follow my Instagram right here at NAOYATAK, and I will see you all next week or in the next video. Peace.